I joined the IIT in 1961.
61.
Before that, I was working at the National Metallurgical Laboratory, and before that at the Indian Institute of Science, where I was also a student of Professor Sir Raman. I joined the Metallurgy Department at the Institute of Science in 1947, soon after I got my PhD from Sheffield, and I continued there with some small break till 1956. In 1956, I went to the National Metallurgical Laboratory as Assistant Director, Physical Metallurgy Division. I stayed there till 1961 and then came to IIT Madras, where I worked till 1986. Since then, I've been leading a sort of retired life, enjoying my leisure with my family and close friends, of whom I count Professor Murty as one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, your student days in Chennai, do you recall any of them?
I was never a student in Chennai.
Uh-huh.
I was always a student in Bangalore.
So your MSc was...
MSc was also in Central College, Bangalore.
In Bangalore. Okay.
B.S. Honours in Physics and MSc in Physics.
Okay.
Then I spent a year in Institute of Science under Professor Sir Raman, doing some research on...
That was the DIISc, was it like...
IISc.
Okay.
In 1944, 45.
Okay.
Doing some work on single crystals of aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
I was the
Single crystals of aluminum.
first to grow those single crystals, I think, in India. And it was not super purity aluminum, but commercial aluminum. Still, I was able to get single crystals about 1 centimeter long.
That's amazing.
And half a centimeter wide. If I had super purity aluminum at that time, I could have grown much bigger crystals.
True. Because otherwise the heterogeneous nucleation will always be there.
Yeah.
So that's something which...
Then I went to University of Sheffield. Actually, Professor C.V. Raman gave me a letter of recommendation to the Professor of Metallurgy at Sheffield University. And on the strength of that letter, he gave me admission to PhD.
And I heard that you got PhD at 22 years of age?
Yeah, when I went there,
this is amazing.
And I gave my formal application. My formal application came through the Indian High Commissioner about 6 months after I joined the Department of Metallurgy. It took so much time for all the red tape to be unraveled. And when it came, they found that I was underage.
Oh.
They required 22 years as the minimum age.
To join for
To
PhD.
join, yeah. I was 20.
Oh, okay.
But they gave me a special exemption so that I was able to complete my PhD in 1947 when I was 22 years of age.
Amazing, sir.
And I came to Indian Institute of Science as a lecturer in 1947. I stayed there except for a short period as a Deputy Development Officer Metals in Government of India at the Institute of Science till I moved over to National Metallurgical Laboratory, and from there I came to IIT Madras.
So you were there almost 9 years in IISc as a faculty member. Okay.
Yes, from 1947 till 1956.
56.
Yeah.
So any reminiscences of that time?
Yes, I had very good contact with the students. I was firstly not much older than many of my students, and that improved the chances of good contact. And I went and had food in the common mess. And I used to play tennis in the Gymkhana.
I heard that you are always a tennis star.
All those factors made my life very much of a social thing, in addition to academic things.
And I heard that you were there for about 5 years in NML.
Yes, after I went to National NML, National Metallurgical Laboratory in Jamshedpur. I spent 5 years there, and I came to IIT Madras.
You had 2 papers in Nature those days.
Yeah, current science.
Which is very
Nature.
amazing.
Yeah.
You want to say a few words about them, sir? It's not easy to see a metallurgist publishing in Nature.
I had a student by name Dasarathi, who is now settled in England, and he and I worked on the transformation of austenite, and we had some new observations on the effect of hydrogen on the transformation of austenite.
Okay.
I reported this in Nature, and that was a rather unusual place for a metallurgical article, but they accepted it, and it was I think the first effort by an Indian metallurgist to contribute to Nature.
Not only that, sir, I would say even in the last 50 years, I have not seen many metallurgy faculty, at least from India, publishing in Nature. So that's amazing.
I also had a couple of short articles in Acta Metallurgica.
I have seen many of them.
Which was then considered the topmost journal for metallurgists, Acta Metallurgica.
Even now, sir.
Even now, I know.
Yeah.
So that was my introduction to metallurgical research as such.
Your interest in industrial metallurgy started in NML?
That was only in IIT Madras.
Oh, only after coming to IIT Madras.
We had divisions of physical metallurgy, then we had also mechanical metallurgy and industrial metallurgy. Foundry was part of industrial metallurgy, metal joining and metal casting, metal and non-destructive testing, they all form part of industrial metallurgy. We made quite a good name for ourselves in the field of industrial metallurgy. And I'm happy to say that my young friends and students, Professor Roshan, Professor Prabhakar, were the stalwarts in this division. And they gave me considerable support and participated in all my activities, particularly in my collaboration with industry.
That's true, sir. 61 when you joined, were there any other faculty in the department, sir?
There was one assistant professor by name T. Ramachandran, who joined as assistant professor from a research institute in Germany directly. And he spent 2 years here, but he joined on a salary far below what he should have got. And I was so glad when he got a professorship in Suratkal, where he retired some years back. And there was also Professor Vasudevan and Professor Srinivas Raghavan, who succeeded Dr. Ramachandran in the department. And there was one Dr. Herwadkar also. But he left soon after a couple of months. There was also one Dr. Mr. Dasgupta, who was in mechanical metallurgy. He was he then joined Hindustan Steel in Raurkela in a higher capacity.
Were there also some German professors?
There was one Dr. Zul, who was a professor of welding actually, and a Professor Wagner, who was a professor in metal forming. They were the 2 German professors attached to the department. I got on very well with Dr. Zurn, who was who had a great rapport with the student community also. And Dr. Sun came to know my parents in Bangalore very well, and became a family friend, Dr. Sun. I visited Dr. Sun in Germany many years later, and one of his sons was born in Madras. That was his connection with Chennai.
Okay.
He had two sons. He has two sons. One of the younger son was born in Willingdon Nursing Home in Nungambakkam.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You had mentored a lot of faculty during your 25 years of time here. You have mentored many faculty members.
Oh, I'm thankful for the opportunity. They were all, at one time, my students are very much younger and junior to me. The senior most amongst the faculty was Professor Vasudevan, who joined the Indian Institute of Science in 1957, a year after I left the institute to join the National Metallurgical Laboratory. When I came to IIT Madras, he and Professor Srinivas Raghavan were both joined as lecturers.
Okay, they came back to join with you.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
great. Yeah. Similarly, you have talked about Professor O. Prabhakar and Professor Roshan.
Yeah, Professor Prabhakar was a student of Metallurgy Department here. Professor Roshan came from IISc Bangalore with a foundry, but he did his doctorate under me. And so did Prabhakar. And
Professor V.M. Radhakrishnan was also those days.
Yeah, Professor Radhakrishnan came from Mechanical Engineering Department. He joined as assistant professor in Metallurgy Department. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So those days, physical metallurgy, the other industrial metallurgy aspects
we had
growing significantly.
In fact, we gave a lot more importance to industrial metallurgy than physical metallurgy itself.
Though
I was originally a physical metallurgist, I transformed myself into an industrial metallurgist.
This is amazing.
I called myself a general metallurgist.
Okay.
I graduated out of physical metallurgy, so to speak.
Just to add this, sir, department has recently started a program of M.Tech in industrial metallurgy, coming back from your days.
Oh, I see.
So
very good.
The uniqueness of this is going to be offered in a e-learning mode, where our faculty will teach in the evening hours, and the people from industry, they will sit in their industry and watch the lectures then be able to do that.
Very interesting.
So this is something which is new, which we are going to start very soon about this.
Yeah.
You want to also talk about your interaction with the students, sir? Yeah, I heard that you are always very hero of our students those days.
That was because of my interest in sports mainly. I participated in the staff student cricket match.
I heard that you used to regularly go to staff club. Staff
club in the shuttle tournament as well as ball badminton. I was a star player in tennis, of course.
Not in cricket?
Cricket I played 1 or 2 matches, staff versus students, but not much in cricket, but mainly in tennis and shuttle badminton.
There were inter-IIT sports meets used to go on?
Yeah, we used to have some sports in those days. I think they are continuing even now.
There is a photograph here. You want to recognize that, Professor?
Yeah. Mrs. H.V. Iyengar. H.V. Iyengar is chairman of the Board of Governors. She was giving some prizes.
Okay. This was which year? Any idea?
This was
around 70s?
Probably even earlier than that.
Wonderful. Want to show any other photo?
Yes, I can recognize here Mr. Srinivasan, who was the physical training instructor,
Okay.
Mr. Natarajan, Professor Anantaraman, that I can't recognize,
Okay.
and that is myself. And
You look like a real sports person. That's amazing, sir.
that was Professor Lutz,
Okay.
and that is Shivaram Krishnan at the end.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
And this is just now we have seen. Maybe a convocation address.
yeah, in Kashmir. I'm third from left.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Dr. Ramakrishnan was the chief guest.
Yes. Radhakrishna was chief guest. That was the first convocation. Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. So you were sitting there in the second row.
I'm sitting second from right.
Yeah, second
Yeah.
to the right. I can see.
Yeah.
Inauguration of chemistry, yeah? Chemistry department, no?
Yeah.
Good, good. You want to recognize any faces here, sir?
Huh?
Do you recognize any faces here?
The one next to me was Professor Pandale, who is now unfortunately no more.
First row on the right, who is the...
That is Professor Koch, physics.
Physics, yes.
He came for physics.
Yeah, Professor O. Prabhakar also fondly remembers him. It seems he taught him physics.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is Professor M.V. Shastri, Dr. Guraj Das, who was director of the Chemical Research Institute in Karaikudi.
Good. Your memory is amazing, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is Mr. Mani, who was workshop superintendent,
yeah.
Professor Varghese, Professor Narayan Murty, myself, Venkateshwarlu. That I can't make out.
Viviera.
B.V. Rao. B.V.A. Rao,
Oh.
she says. Some convocation dinner, this is? Some.
I think so, sometime at a time. This is Dr. Subrayan, myself.
Giving you.
He presenting me with some sports award.
Okay. I heard that every year you used to win those days. Tennis,
Yeah,
particularly.
yeah. Tennis, shuttle, badminton also.
Okay. Good. The other two, do you recognize, sir, anyone?
That is Natarajan.
Okay.
That I can't recognize.
Again, you are at the end there.
Yeah.
Some German delegation looks like.
You can recognize me by my prominent nose.
True. Yeah. Yes, again.
Yeah.
Who is chairing there? Professor Koch?
No, it is some visitor from Germany, I think.
Some of your colleagues here?
No. Some students, we all met the gentleman here. I was dean of students, something like that.
You are also a deputy director for some time.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
How long was that, Professor?
Probably 2 years.
When do you remember the period, sir?
1979, I think.
79 to 81, huh?
Mm. This is J.R.D. Tata, H.O. Iyengar, Chairman of the Board of Governors, Dr. A. Ramachandran, Director, that is Professor M.V. Shastri, and that is myself.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Do you want to recollect any facilities that were set up during those days, Professor?
Facilities for what?
Any
Department.
equipment that have come up during those days?
Yeah, we had the electron microscope.
When was the first electron microscope came to the department, Professor?
I think it came in 1967, I think.
67.
Wow.
Wow.
A lady, Dr. Butenuth, who was considered to be a specialist in electron microscopy, she came as professor, but she was very unhappy in the department. And her husband was a professor in the chemistry department, and she was in the metallurgy department. And they both left very soon. They didn't serve their full term.
And who took over from then onwards?
For some time, nobody took over. Then I spent a year in Sheffield, no, in Swansea, when I did a lot of electron microscopy work. So when I came back here, I could take charge of the electron microscope. Though nominally it was Professor Srinivas Raghavan, but he was a bit reluctant to take the responsibility.
Okay. I heard that later for quite some time he was in charge of it. Later on, for quite some time.
Yeah.
In fact,
he had many phobias about that instrument. About it was supposed to be a general purpose instrument, supposed to service the whole institute, but it didn't serve that purpose.
Now the microscopy facility has significantly improved.
Yeah, I know.
We have a Titan now. We have an atom probe now. I mean, amazing facilities have come to the institute. Good, sir. But there are quite a number of German metal forming equipment I see even now. Did they come during your time?
They set up the metal forming laboratory, the metal joining also. They must have seen a lot of equipment in metal joining,
correct.
Metal forming, and
lot of presses.
Each of there was a professor, German professor attached to each. Professor Zurn for metal welding, and Professor Wagner for metal forming. Professor Wagner didn't stay very long, and he was a bit of a loner. Dr. Zurn was the opposite, and he interacted very freely with not only me but with all the staff and all the rest of the institute. And though he was nominally in charge of welding, he helped the department quite a bit.
That's good, that's good.
For some time, as I told you, we had a professor come for electron microscopy, but she didn't work out well. It didn't work out well, and she went back very dissatisfied.
In fact, when I joined here in '92, the microscopy lab was given to me. I took over that lab, and now this grew to a large extent. Good. And when you retired in '86, how many faculty were there in the department at that point of time, sir? Around 15 or so?
I don't remember.
Now we are about 30. I just
there were not 15 faculty. There were.
It was a smaller department.
Yeah.
It was a smaller department.
There was Vasudevan, Srinivas Raghavan. There was S.K. Sheshadri, and there was Roshan.
Professor Roshan is coming this week. He is going to spend some time giving a talk in the department. Every year he comes and he tries to give a talk. He is still continuing his multimedia on metal forming and metal
casting.
Metal casting. Do you remember your campus life here, sir?
Yes,
How was it,
I moved into the campus
you were in Lakeview Road?
in 1963. Though I joined the institute in 1961, the quarters were not ready then. As soon as the professor's quarters were ready, I moved in 63 and stayed there for 23 years.
Which quarter was that?
B1.
B1. I was in B1, sir.
B8, 6.
Okay, good.
We had a road linking my house to Vanavani School.
Vanavani School, okay.
And my younger daughter studied in Vanavani School. We could walk her there and walk her back.
Wonderful.
My elder daughter studied in the Central School.
Okay.
Which was
one in Vanavani, one in
oh yeah,
School.
which was at that time just 1 year old.
So anything else that you want to recollect and any anecdotes from?
I had a very good time at IIT. I recall only with pleasure the time I spent here, and so many memories come back. And the ladies' club was built first. They had a big hall. The staff club had to content itself with space underneath the water tank. So we borrowed the ladies' club for our shuttle badminton tournaments.
Even now, sir, in the ladies' club, shuttle badminton is being played.
I see.
My kids go regularly and play there. That's good. So that must be...
The only disadvantage was the roof was not high enough.
Okay.
So whenever the shuttle hit the roof, it was replayed.
Oh.
And
now it's very tall. Now the roof is very tall. The OAT was also there those days?
Yeah.
The movies were there?
OAT
you
was
used to have movies?
Yeah.
Every
Saturday
movie?
Yeah. But mostly English movies. There were no local movies, no language movies in those days. They were all English movies.
English movies. Good.
Yeah. And there was a music association.
We have right now our Shastra and Sarang about to start, okay, from tomorrow. So do you remember any such festivals? People talk about Mardi Gras those days.
Yeah, Mardi Gras was there. And
were you involved
the
in
new music club was inaugurated by a very famous musician, Musli Subramanian, who was Sangeet Kalanandi and all that, very great musician. And it throve for about few years, then it went into oblivion.
But later Professor T.T. Narendran management, I
Yeah.
think he has revived it.
Yeah.
It is very active now. The
Oh, I
music
see.
club is very active now. Quite a number of my own colleague Subramanian Sharma is also deeply involved in that. So very active music club now. So Mardi Gras was very popular those days.
Yeah.
This cultural festival.
Yeah,
probably.
it was, yeah.
Was it also a scientific festival or only a cultural?
Only a cultural festival.
So the Shastra events were not
No,
there.
no,
those days.
no.
Now we have separated the two.
Yeah.
One for the technical festival, one for the
Social,
cultural festival.
yeah.
So and nowadays both of them are being organized back to back over a period of about 10 days. So the festival starts tomorrow more or less, and it goes until about 11th or 12th. Good. Your DD, Deputy Director period, do you remember any events, anything that is organized or any
No, mostly routine.
routine?
Routine. No, nothing special.
Nothing special those days. So anything else? Any message that you want to share with the youngsters?
Well, I wish them all good luck. Yeah,
you,
that's
sir.
the
Thank
only
you, sir.
message.
We need your blessings, sir.
Yeah.
Definitely. You have really shaped up the department. Now the department is really growing to a much bigger status.
Yeah.
Thanks to a lot of youngsters who are all there.
Yeah.
Thanks to all your
Yeah.
dreams
Yeah.
that you have nourished and
Yeah.
then grown.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for this interview.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for coming
Thank-
all the way.
Thank you very much.